Welcome back, I'm Felix, and I am reacting to 25 innovative products from the 80s that failed miserably. There's a lot. I mean, there's way more than 25. There was a bunch that you thought would take off just because how innovative they were. But sometimes they're too innovative to where people are just like, nah, thank you. And I think that's what happened with a lot of them, to be honest with you. But let's get into it and see if I recognize any of these products. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's take a look back at the 80s.
The Atari 2600 video game system and its new exciting games at a new low
Well, right off the bat, was that a failure? I know it's just starting. It could be just the opening thing.
price.
You draw here, and it comes out there.
Sony Walkman is a tiny stereo cassette player.
The 1980s were packed with bold ideas and exciting new products. From high-tech gadgets to strange food experiments, companies weren't afraid.
Oh, I've seen this before. I can't recall if I ever saw it in the stores. But I remember seeing this and thinking, Colgate? That's the toothbrush stuff, the toothpaste. And I'm looking at that like, Colgate? I don't know if they still do food or not, but yeah, it's just like, ugh. You can't be associated with one thing and then suddenly branch off into something else with your name plastered across it. You got to kind of ease into it.
To take risks. Some of these inventions changed the world, but others, not so much. Some were too early, too expensive, or just didn't make sense. Whether it was a confusing computer, a weird...
That's what I was saying earlier at the beginning. He said some were just too early. And that's what I meant. It's like they were just too innovative, that they were ahead of their time.
meal, or a game console that buried its own future, the decade had no shortage of innovation.
I remember that. Or is that... No, it sounds like the Discman. Is that the Discman? No, that's the Kodak camera disc. Yeah, I forgot about that. I do remember that a little.
Innovation gone wrong. These are the inventions that aimed high but fell hard.
I believe that would have been considered really the beginning of digital cameras. The DeLorean.
Join us at 25 innovative products from the 1980s that failed miserably.
Introducing the world's first 6.5-pound all-in-one camera video recorder from Sony. No wires, no bulky recorder.
Back in 1983, Sony tried to shake things up with a bold idea. They released the Beta Movie Recorder. It was one of the first camcorders where the camera and recorder were in one body. No wires, no heavy setups, just point and shoot. Sounds cool, right? But here's the problem. It was recorded on Betamax tapes. That format looked great, but didn't last long. Most people went for the video home system because it lets you record longer. And unlike other camcorders, this one didn't even let you watch your video right after filming. You had to wait until you got home and played it on a Betamax player. Not fun. Also, the price was no joke. It cost...
That's what I was waiting for. Sony, even back then, was expensive. I knew it was going to be expensive.
Cost a lot, and people weren't ready to pay that much. So, even with its fresh design, it lost the race to video home system. Sony had big dreams, but Betamovie just couldn't keep up.
Capacitance elect.
What's funny is Beta was the better quality. It's just they didn't market it well. I don't know what it was with Sony in the U.S. back in the 80s, even through the 90s. It's like Sony just did not know how to market to the U.S. market, even though they had fantastic products. Some of them took off, but stuff like Betamax should have conquered the home video systems, but it didn't.
Otherwise known as CED, was an early home video format developed by RCA.
Actors, we can make you believe we know what we're doing, when in fact, we do not. Whoops.
The Radio Corporation of America had big hopes in 1981. They launched the Capacitance Electronic Disc, CED.
I do not remember that at all. I do not remember it at all.
A video disc system that looked like a record but played movies. It came in a plastic case, and you had to slide the whole thing into a player. It felt high-tech at the time, but there were problems from the start. The picture quality was not that great. It scratched easily, and even a little dust could mess up your movie. People expected better. Worse still, Video Home System and Betamax were already in homes, allowing recording, pausing, rewinding,
And this thing's looked huge. I don't know if I would want that.
forwarding. The capacitance electronic disc could only play, nothing more. The Radio Corporation of America spent years developing it, but by the time it launched, the world had moved on. Sales were low, and the company discontinued it after just a few years. Great idea, wrong time.
With the new Atari Artist program and this simple little device, you draw here, and it comes out there. No typing and no programming.
Atari introduced the CX77 touch tablet in 1984. It was a drawing pad that let users create art on their television screens. The tablet came with a stylus and the Atari Artist software, offering 128 colors and various patterns.
See, that's what I mean. This was ahead of its time. Man, could you imagine if they stuck with it? Oh my God. The drawing technology we would have today if they had just stuck with it.
Could draw, erase, and even trace images placed under a clear overlay. Despite its creative potential, the tablet didn't catch on. One major issue was the lack of additional software support. Beyond Atari Artist, there weren't many programs that utilized the tablet. This limited its functionality and appeal.
Oh yeah, if it was just for like gameplay, yeah. They should have looked into artists. They should have looked into marketing. They should have looked into the corporate world. Oh my God. If I had been around and working for Atari back then, I'm like, no, this needs to be more than just for gameplay. We need to do stuff with this. This is revolutionary. And they all probably just, I'm sure someone tried to point that out and no one listened.
Another issue was user interest. Most people used computers for games or basic tasks, and digital
Yeah, back then, not too many people were using home computers to do work and school on.
art was still new. Few saw the need for a drawing tablet, and it also required a separate program recorder to save artwork, adding complexity. The CX77 Touch tablet was ahead of its time. It offered a glimpse into digital creativity, but lacked the support and audience to succeed.
PC Junior from IBM, the computer that's growing by leaps and bounds.
IBM wanted to bring computers into people's homes. In 1984, they launched the P. It looked nice and had some cool features, but it didn't go well. The biggest issue was its keyboard. It was small and hard to type on. People even called it the chiclet keyboard because the keys looked like little gum pieces. It felt cheap and didn't match IBM's name. Another problem was compatibility. Many popular personal computer programs
What was the deal with that keyboard? The keyboard did look, why was the stuff you lay over top of it? That reminds me of games, I was saying in the 90s where they did have stuff for keyboards. When you were playing games, they would have something for your keyboard actually. You could kind of lay it over the keyboard so you know what keys did what. So that format, that kind of idea still stuck around for a while.
programs didn't work right on it. That confused users and made the PCJR hard to trust. It also cost too much for a home computer, especially one that didn't work like people expected. Buyers got frustrated fast. IBM tried to fix things, but the damage was done. Sales were bad. They stopped making it just over a year later. A strong name couldn't save a weak product. If you think IBM missed the mark, wait till you see what Kodak did with film in the next entry. Check this Kodak Disc 4000.
The Kodak disc camera has automatic film advance. It's so fast you don't have to miss a leap, a flip, or a dip.
Kodak launched the Disc 4000 in 1982, hoping to change how people took photos. It was small, easy to carry, and simple to use. You just popped in a round disc of film and clicked away. At first, people liked the new style, but the photos told a different story. The images were fuzzy and dark. The tiny negatives on the disc couldn't capture clear details. That was a big letdown. Even though the camera looked modern, the picture quality ruined its chances. People didn't want to keep memories that looked bad.
See, they were so focused on the look of the camera and the ease of use that they didn't think about the quality that was coming out. But in a way, this is kind of like the beginning of digital camera. Kodak, I believe, if I remember correctly, had a chance to really corner the market on digital cameras, and they dropped the ball.
Shops also didn't love processing disc film. It added more hassle for them. Kodak pushed the idea for a while, but it never caught on. The Disc 4000 faded fast, and Kodak had to move on.
Maybe this computer's different.
Macintosh has the power to change the way you feel about computers.
Apple released the Macintosh Portable in 1989, hoping to start a new trend in portable computing. But at 16 pounds, it was far from easy to carry. While it had a full keyboard and a decent screen, users quickly ran into issues. The battery life was poor, and sometimes the computer wouldn't turn on unless the battery was fully charged. It also came with a high price tag. Most people...
Yeah, you think Apple products, compared to the cost of living back then, Apple products were way too much. And even now, the Apple products are way too much. They cost too much for nothing. Open.
You know what brush is?
Nope. I don't go anywhere.
People couldn't afford it, and those who could felt it didn't offer enough value. Apple aimed to lead the portable market, but the product fell short.
Apple back in the 80s, and I don't even say the 90s, kept dropping a ball. They had the opportunity to crush Windows. I mean, they could have crushed Windows, and they dropped the ball. When I think about the opportunities missed by a lot of companies just because of the ego, because they were ego-driven companies, it's so sad. It really is sad.
It was too heavy, too pricey, and didn't meet expectations.
Hold it. Do not buy your family a computer until you compare Atom, today's complete computer system, only $499.
Coleco released the Atom computer in 1983, hoping to turn its video game success into a home computer win. The plan looked good on paper.
I don't remember this, but I do remember being able to use like tape to record stuff. But I don't remember this setup at all. Wait, I take it back. I do kind of remember this keyboard. But yeah, I don't remember too much of this. I wonder why I had to blur that out. I just realized the things blurred out the image.
The system came with a printer, a word processor, and a digital data drive. It even worked with ColecoVision games, but things went wrong fast. Many units arrived dead right out of the box.
Oh.
Others broke within days. The printer, which powered the whole system, was loud and unreliable. If it failed, the computer wouldn't even start. Coleco rushed the release to catch the holiday season, but that rush led to sloppy hardware and angry buyers. Software support was weak too. People returned the machines and lost trust in the brand. Coleco hoped to enter the computer...
Coleco is Coleco. I never heard it called Coleco.
But the Atom's problems crushed that dream before it even began.
Ladies and gentlemen, behold, Colgate frozen lasagna.
In the 1980s...
It just doesn't sound good at all. Just because Colgate's involved. That's so sad. That'd be like Viagra making pop or something. People be afraid to drink it.
80s, Colgate made a move no one saw coming. The toothpaste giant decided to launch its own frozen food line. One of the products was Colgate Lasagna. The idea behind it was simple. Colgate already had strong brand recognition. They thought people would trust their name on food too, but that trust didn't carry over. Consumers saw the Colgate label and thought of minty toothpaste, not a warm meal. The mix of food and hygiene branding was just too strange. Most people were put off immediately. They couldn't imagine eating something linked to brushing their teeth. The lasagna flopped hard. People didn't buy it, and stores didn't want to stock it. Colgate quickly pulled it from the market. It remains one of the strangest product choices ever.
I wonder how it tasted. I mean, seriously, what if it turned out it was the best lasagna ever made? But just because the name Colgate was attached, people were like, nope, I'm good. But they should have done it. They probably do now, but a lot of companies would, that's where a lot of companies create a different company to do that product. This company would, so I don't know if Colgate went that route or not, but that's how you do it. Because like a lot of people don't realize Coca-Cola actually makes dog food. I think they're in Premier? I can't think of the name. It's one with the checkerboard dog food company. And they own some other food companies too. So that's what you do. You get a different name to do that product. So that way people aren't going, what do you know about this? And they didn't do that.
Now, let's talk about the McDLT when McDonald's tried giving...
I like this. This was actually good. This didn't immediately go away. What they ended up doing was they got rid of the separate containers and just gave it to you as whole. And it was hung around for a little bit, but then eventually did go away. I think the damage was done is basically what it came down to.
Burger.
Did you hear about McDonald's new McDLT?
It could be the best tasting lettuce and tomato hamburger ever.
Because the hot stays hot and the cool stays cool.
The McDLT was McDonald's attempt to offer...
I miss those type of commercials. Even back then we laughed at them. I was like, what in the world?
...for a fresher burger by keeping the hot and cold parts separate. Lettuce and tomato went on one side of a large styrofoam box, while the patty stayed on the other. Customers had to put it together themselves. While the taste was fine, the packaging caused problems. It was bulky, wasteful, and used a lot of styrofoam at a time when people were becoming more environmentally aware. Many didn't like the extra trash or the extra work. People wanted quick, ready-to-eat meals, not do-it-yourself burgers. The McDLT quietly vanished.
This is what the world's most advanced PC looks like.
And is now remembered mostly for its odd, wasteful design.
Lifesaver. This is Karen sucking her thumb, and this is her brother trying to get her to stop.
Lifesavers decided to turn their popular candy into a drink in the 1980s. The idea was to give fans the same sweet...
I don't remember that either. That sounds... I don't know. I actually can't remember the last time I had a Lifesaver. But I remember them tasting good. I don't know that much of that flavor in a drink. If not done right, it could be nasty.
Flavor in liquid form. On paper, it sounded fun and colorful. The company hoped that people would love sipping on a soda that tasted just like their favorite treat. But the reality didn't go so well. The soda was way too sweet. Most people found it...
That's what I was thinking of, that it would be too sweet.
...more than a few sips. What worked in candy didn't work in a drink. The flavor was too strong and didn't feel refreshing. Even with its bright branding and recognition...
They should have watered it down a little more, is basically what it comes down to. It was just too strong. They should have did taste testing. It's not like they didn't do any taste testing for it.
...recognizable name, the product didn't catch on. Stores pulled it from shelves, and the company dropped the idea. It became another reminder that not everything sweet belongs in a bottle.
This cigarette will treat you to a smoke with a cleaner taste, a cleaner aroma, a cleaner feel. Premier, the cleaner smoke.
In the late 19...
Back when you could smoke on TV and not get in trouble for it.
R.J. Reynolds spent millions to create a smokeless cigarette called Premier. Instead of burning tobacco, it heated it, aiming to offer a cleaner way to smoke. But smokers disliked it. The taste was poor, the feel was odd, and the smell wasn't pleasant. It also looked strange, making people uncomfortable using it in public. The company spent around $325 million on the project, but it failed quickly. Stores couldn't sell it, and users weren't interested. R.J. Reynolds pulled it from the market, losing a huge sum. Premier is now remembered as one of the costliest product failures in tobacco history.
I don't remember that at all. I thought it was going to be like the vape cigarette or something. But no, it was actually, you smoked it. It seems weird.
In 1989, Pepsi thought people might want soda instead of coffee in the morning. So they made Pepsi AM, with more caffeine than regular Pepsi.
That kind of sounds familiar. What's funny is that would sell now. Pepsi should think about bringing that back. Because that probably would sell now with all the sports drinks and energy drinks that are out now. Again, this was just ahead of its time. This would probably work now.
It was made for people who didn't like coffee but still wanted a boost to start their day. The idea was bold, and the name sounded strong and energizing. But even with such a powerful name, it didn't work. Most people just weren't ready to drink soda with breakfast. It didn't taste much different either, so there wasn't a good reason to buy it. Pepsi AM faded fast and was quietly pulled from shelves. Next, let's look at one of the weirdest cars from the 1980s. Nissan's bold yet confusing Pulsar. Sportback.
Introducing the all-new 80s.
That might work today because people like the Cybertruck. So they probably would like that.
7 Nissan Pulsar NX.
Pulsar NX.
The Nissan Pulsar NX Sportback tried to be two cars in one. With its modular rear hatch, drivers could switch between a sporty coupe and a mini wagon. It was a bold, futuristic idea, but it didn't click with buyers. The design looked strange, and the extra cost for the Sportback option didn't help. People were confused by its purpose. Was it fun, practical, or both? Sales stayed low, and the model disappeared quickly. While it stood out, it became more of a novelty than a success. Nissan took a risk, but the market just wasn't ready for it.
Making gameplay like this possible simply by adding a computer keyboard.
Discover Intellivision. It can...
Oh, I remember Intellivision. I never personally got to play with it or anything. It's not that I recall. But yeah, I remember the name Intellivision. If I remember correctly, I'm going to jump ahead and think and say this is the one you just hook to your TV. Because there was a lot like that. You could just hook into your Tandy computers, and that was the idea. You just hook it to your computer. You hook it to your TV. It had a modular thing, an adapter that went between the TV and the computer, and you just used the TV as your monitor.
Change your family.
In 1980, Mattel promised to turn its Intellivision game system into a full computer with the new keyboard component. It was packed with features like a tape drive, microphone,
Oh, I'm thinking the wrong thing. Never mind.
and extra memory.
Well, no, it is Intellivision I'm thinking of, but I didn't know they had a keyboard feature.
Quickly went wrong. The product kept getting delayed and didn't hit test markets until late 1981. It finally launched in early 1982 in just a few cities for a high price of $600. Worse, it had almost no working software. Customers were upset, and the government started looking into it. By mid-1982, Mattel pulled it from stores and gave refunds.
It's pretty sad when the government had to step in like, whoa, you're selling this product and it doesn't do anything like you say it does? Yeah, that's a red flag.
The game failed in just 2 years.
The DeLorean. Gull-wing doors rise effortlessly, beckoning you inside.
The DeLorean DMC-12 looked like something straight out of the future. It had...
Why are they using CGI? There's got to be tons of video with DeLorean. Use Back to the Future footage. I don't know why they're using CGI for this.
Steel panels and cool gull-wing doors. When it appeared...
Wait, was that the commercial? Did they do that in the commercial back then?
Back to the Future, it became a pop culture icon. But the real car was far from perfect. Its engine was weak, and its speed didn't match its sporty look. Drivers were let down by how it performed on the road. It also cost more than many better-performing cars. Inside, it didn't feel high-end or special. The company rushed production, and quality suffered. Sales stayed low. Fewer than 9,000 cars were made before the company went bankrupt. Even though the DMC-12 is still remembered today, It failed in the market. Car that looked amazing, but didn't drive that way. The dream was big, but the reality didn't match up.
If I remember correctly, the guy's name was DeLorean, and he ended up getting investigated, just like with the Intellivision stuff. I want to say he ended up going to jail for something. I could be remembering wrong. For some reason, I feel like he went to jail for embezzlement or stuff. There was some fraud involved. But that reminds me of the Tesla. Like, he was trying to be the Elon Musk of the 80s, basically, and it didn't work out.
Sinclair C5, £399. Want to buy one?
That looks familiar. I think that may have been mainly in Great Britain. That was a British thing. I don't remember it too much over here, but that does look familiar. I wonder if I saw it on Top Gear. I remember seeing it somewhere.
Want to see one? Or simply want to read all about it?
The Sinclair C5 was a small, one-person electric vehicle launched in 1985. It resembled a mix between a go-kart and a bike, powered by a regular battery. Designed as a cheap and clean way to get around town, it faced criticism for its strange appearance and a maximum speed of only 15 miles per hour. Its low profile made drivers feel unsafe, especially around larger cars, and poor weather protection added to the problems. Despite being an early...
Yeah, I think I did see this on Top Gear. I think I remember him talking about the weather and all that stuff. It was like, you basically would die in that thing if you drove on the road.
Attempt at electric transport, the vehicle failed to attract buyers, and the company ceased production after just 1 year. Coming up is a computer...
Were we about to watch someone die? Like, geez, that's what I was talking about. It's unsafe.
That wowed everyone with its power and graphics, but still couldn't survive. Let's talk about the rise and fall of the Amiga computers.
The Commodore Amiga 500, the future of computing for the home, personal education, creative applications, and the business environment.
The Amiga was one of the most advanced home computers of its time. Launched in 1985, it had amazing graphics, sound, and multitasking features that were perfect for games, animation, and video work. But the computers had problems that held them back. They lacked memory protection, so programs could crash easily. The early models needed multiple boot disks just to start, and software support was weak. Later versions, like the Amiga 600, removed useful features and confused buyers.
I hate when Windows does that now, like Microsoft does that now with Windows. They remove features that people actually liked. It's like, why did you remove that? We liked that. They're like, geez. But yeah, I don't get when companies do that. Take away a feature that you know your customers like. If anything, you should improve on that feature. Why would you take it away? Now, I will say in some rare cases, it's because it turned out it was a security risk. But if that's the case, fix it. Yeah.
While the Amiga had brilliant tech, it was often hard to use, underpowered, or unfinished. These flaws made people turn to simpler, more reliable personal computers.
You really feel the... Right now, this has all been computers. Have you noticed that? All these innovations have been computer-related, the majority of them.
Music with the Sony Walkman.
The Sony Walkman is a tiny stereo cassette player with truly incredible sound.
The Sony Walkman changed how people listened to music in the 1980s. It made music portable.
Okay, I hope he's not going to say this was a failure. This lasted for a long time. So I'm going to let him talk, but this wasn't a failure.
You could clip it to your belt and listen on the go. It was a huge hit. Everyone wanted one. The sound was good, and the design was cool. But Sony got stuck in the past. As the world moved toward digital music, the company hesitated. Other brands started making MP3 players. Then Apple launched the iPod and took over the market. Sony had the tech to compete, but it didn't act fast enough. Instead of leading the digital shift, Sony held on to old systems.
Shopping for kitchen and laundry appliances has never been easier. Don's Appliances has the Tri-State's largest
Their music software was clunky and hard to use. By the time they reacted, it was too late. The Walkman lost its place in music history.
Yeah, I remember this. Sony had an opportunity to crush Apple, and they didn't do it. Same with Blockbuster. Blockbuster had a chance to crush Netflix. I think they had a chance to partner with Netflix and didn't do it. And this is what I'm talking about. So many companies are so ego-driven, they can't see the potential, they can't see the future, or they jump in and they jump at something when they see everyone else jumping at something, and they don't investigate what they're jumping at, and it's a complete flop. So it's like they go from one extreme to the other. But yeah, I do remember Sony having an opportunity to just crush the market, and they didn't do it. This is what I was talking about. Sony didn't know how to operate in America with a lot of things. It's like, yeah, you got to hit with this, but times are shifting. You got to shift with them, and they didn't.
The brand that once ruled portable music fell behind.
Introducing the RCA Video Disc Player, the extraordinary machine that plays records you watch on your TV.
The Radio Corporation of America, RCA, launched the video disc system in 1981, hoping to lead the future of home video.
Didn't we just watch this?
Played movies on large vinyl-like discs using a special needle. It looked high-tech but had big problems. The discs were easy to scratch and got dirty fast. Worse, the system couldn't record or rewind like video home system tapes. Just months earlier, the video home system hit the market and quickly offered more convenience and better value. RCA didn't see the shift coming. Sales were poor, and by 1984, the video disc was gone. What was meant to be RCA's next big thing ended up helping sink the company.
I'd like the most popular home video game system ever.
Ah, the system you want is the Atari 2600.
Are they repeating stuff they just went over?
The Atari 2600 was one of the first home video game consoles and became a huge success in the early 1980s. Games like Space Invaders and Pitfall made it very popular. But soon, things went wrong. Atari rushed to release bad games like E.T., which was confusing and hard to play. Pac-Man also looked and felt nothing like the arcade version. On top of that, too many companies made cheap, boring games. Stores were filled with junk, and people stopped buying. Atari lost trust and money fast. What started as a gaming revolution ended with failure and piles of unsold games buried in the ground. Think the Viewmaster was just for photos? In 1988, it tried to jump into gaming, and things got weird fast.
I don't remember them jumping into gaming, but the fact he's talking about things got weird fast.
In 1988, Viewmaster tried...
That looks like a Lego setup. It looks like something Lego would have came up with for a console.
Television and video games together with the interactive vision. This video home system-based console let the kids watch shows with characters like The Muppets, Sesame Street, and Disney favorites, while using a joystick and buttons to make choices. It even had 2 soundtracks and interactive video overlays to give players the feeling they were part of the story. Sounds cool, right? But it was too limited. It needed a video cassette recorder, had clunky gameplay, and felt more like a toy than a real console. Competing systems like the Nintendo Entertainment System were miles ahead.
Oh, that came out when the Nintendo came out and Sega? Oh, no. That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
Despite its fun idea, it didn't catch on and quickly faded from memory.
I'm Steve Jobs, and I make...
I do remember around that time there was a lot of stuff, a lot of people were trying to get into the gaming market, and it just didn't work.
It's called Next Station. It's a slab, the monitor, keyboard, the mouse, the software.
After Steve Jobs left Apple, he introduced the Next computer in 1988. It looked futuristic and had powerful features like advanced graphics, a built-in digital signal processor, and Next Step software. It was meant for schools and researchers, but the $6,500 price tag made it too expensive. It also didn't support popular...
$6,500 in the 80s? Holy hell. Even now that's expensive for a computer. That's like a super high-end gaming computer, man. You better have that computer for a couple of years. About at least 5 minimum years. And this, back in the 80s, $6,000. Oh my goodness. Steve Jobs, I don't know what was with Steve Jobs, man.
Software, so few people bought it. Despite the failure, it made a mark. Tim Berners-Lee used a NeXT computer to create the first web browser. In the end, it was a great idea that didn't sell, becoming more of a tech legend than a market success.
To the greatest sports performance shoe in the world.
I had a pair of those. It seemed like everybody and their brother had a pair. It's like they were fun. You just pump. I mean, after a while, the novelty wore off, but I had a pair of those.
The Reebok Pump. Pump up and air out.
Reebok launched the pump shoes in 1989 to offer something new.
When you own your own business, you own every decision. And with over $2,500 in annual value, now own the card that rewards you for it. Introducing the business card that gives back all you put in. The new Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business.
Sometimes it can feel like there's no way out of treatment-resistant depression. You take one
new and high-tech. The sneakers had an inflatable system that let users pump air into the tongue for a custom fit. It was exciting and caught attention fast, especially after the National Basketball Association star Dee Brown wore them in a dunk contest. But the excitement didn't last. The shoes were expensive, and the pump feature didn't actually improve performance much. Competitors like Nike focused on real athletic performance, while Reebok's tech started to feel like a gimmick. Over time,
it's because it was a gimmick. It did work for the moment because everybody wanted a pair. I had a pair. Just about everybody in school had a pair, mainly the guys. But it was fun. I mean, after a while, I stopped doing the pump. But at the time, it was fun. It's like the light-up shoes. Everybody wanted light-up shoes. And those come back every now and again. Both my kids had light-up shoes at one point. But again, it is just a novelty. It's just for fun.
Interest faded, and the pump became more of a fashion memory than a success.
PXL 2000 video system.
I had a friend who had this. I remember this. We used to play around with it.
Can be seen and heard.
The PXL 2000 was a toy video camera released by Fisher-Price in 1987. It recorded grainy black and white footage onto standard cassette tapes. It seemed futuristic, especially for kids, and could even capture sound. But it had a big problem. It was expensive. Priced around $179, many parents skipped it. Kids didn't find much use for its low-quality video, and sales flopped. The product vanished after 1 year.
And from what I remember, you couldn't edit it. There was no editing for it. So you had to film everything. If you were trying to do something for real, you had to film it in order, no editing.
Still, artists later rediscovered it for its gritty aesthetic. Indie filmmakers praised its strange, dreamlike video style. It became a niche cult favorite in film circles. But as a mass-market toy, it failed fast. High price, unclear purpose, and low appeal to children made it one of the most unusual flops of the 1980s. To close things out, let's look at one of the cheapest computers ever made and why it still failed.
Now, Timex brings the power of the computer within reach of more people than ever before.
I don't remember them making a computer. Ugh.
Introducing the Timex Sinclair 1000.
The Timex Sinclair 1000 was launched in 1982 as one of the most affordable home computers ever. Priced under $100, it aimed to bring computing to the masses.
Oh, that's
It
small.
featured a black and white display, 2 kilobytes of random access memory, a membrane keyboard, and used cassette tapes for programs. Despite the low price, it had many flaws. It was slow, limited, and hard to use. The keyboard frustrated users, and most useful software needed extra memory. Competitors like the Commodore 64 offered more power and better features.
I'm going to end it here. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. A lot of these I do remember. Some I've never interacted with, but I do remember them. But yeah, that was fun to watch to see what was what. And I guarantee there's like 1,000 and 1,000 more. 'Cause like I said, when Sega and Nintendo came out, because it was like Coleco and Atari, and they both vanished. And then it was Sega and Nintendo. And Nintendo's really the only one still around. But now it's like Microsoft and Sony are the two. And Nintendo's still hanging in there. Sega had an opportunity to move forward in the market and drop the ball big time. Sega kept coming out with new systems and abandoning the old one. And so none of the games would transfer over. That's a big no-no. When you spend all that money on a game and they can't play it anymore, people were not liking that. But I'll leave a link for this. You guys can go back and check it out. Don't forget to like. I bit my tongue. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and everyone take care. Later.